Since the start of the pandemic, the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, has maintained that when you take these experimental drugs, they won't last long in your body. That's what they told us, right? That's what they told us on their website. That was the beauty, they said, of the mRNA technology, that if you went to the CDC's website before this weekend, you could read all about it. You could read how on the CDC's website that, wow, if you took this jab, the area where you would take it, it would dissipate. It would go away, it would disappear. Your body would then learn how to deal with this, and then that spike protein would dissolve and be out of your system. No need to worry about it, right? And so if you go to the CDC's website, that's what it used to say until this weekend, when the CDC suddenly decided to remove the mention of how long the spike protein stays in your body. So the CDC has now updated its website with its guidance. So here's what it used to say on their website. There's a big red X through it. So that is no longer on their website. Facts about mRNA. And this is what the CDC's website says. The mRNA and spike protein do not last long in the body, according to the CDC. Our cells break down mRNA from these vaccines. They get rid of it within a few days after you get it. Scientists estimate that the spike protein, like other proteins our bodies create, may stay in the body up to a few weeks. Oh, well, it's interesting because a number of doctors said immediately that that's not the case. And the founder, the creator of the mRNA technology himself, Dr. Robert Malone, was quick to issue notes to the FDA and the CDC saying that is not true. This is not accurate. And here is the truth about this information. Tricia Flanagan tweeted this. She's a biochemist. She says, I know exactly why the CDC deleted this information. I'm a biochemist in immunology, oncology, and have said from day one that there's no off switch with this technology. More soon. She's not the only one. Dr. Peter McCullough, hundreds of other doctors also came forward very concerned about this, about the spike protein question. There was never enough time to test these because they needed to allow enough time to be able to test how long, and just by looking at animals wasn't enough.
Oh, no. In fact, Kim Iverson reported on her show just last week that, the animals were culled within 2 weeks of receiving the trials.
Right.
And so they were never able to say whether or not there were lasting adverse effects because they were put down within 2 weeks of their vaccines. And so they also could not ever say how long the mRNA technology stayed around in their system because they terminated their lives. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, so I'm being careful about those things. And a lot of people were punished for saying this very, very same thing about mRNA until now.
Well, this is on YouTube. Okay, this video that I'm about to show you is on YouTube. And it's with Robert Malone, Steve Kirsch, and Brett Weinstein on the Dark Horse show. Doctors, all of them, and specifically talking about the spike protein. I want you to listen to Brett Weinstein and Steve Kirsch, and then as they toss it to Robert Malone about these problems that the FDA knew about these problems with the spike protein, because Dr. Robert Malone himself documented it and then told them about it. Here, take a listen.
Normally, when you vaccinate someone, the vaccine goes in the shoulder and it stays in the shoulder, in the shoulder area. And what happens is the antibodies are generated and they attack this antigen in the shoulder and it wipes it out and we're good. But what Byron Brittle did is he did a FOIA request to the Japanese government to look at the biodistribution data. And what he discovered is that it doesn't stay in the shoulder where we all thought it should stay. It goes throughout your entire body. It goes to your brain, to your heart.
So that's two problems. One problem is it isn't where it's supposed to be ideally.
Where we thought it was, where we thought it was for all the
and the other
previous vaccines.
The other problem, and this is your area of expertise, is that what these vaccines do is they encode spike protein alone so that the immune system will learn to recognize spike protein and will catch it quickly when one is confronted with COVID. But the spike protein itself, we now know, is very dangerous. It's cytotoxic. Is that a fair description?
More than fair, and I alerted the FDA about this risk months and months and months ago.
months and months and months ago. By the way, Steve is not a doctor. I mean, offhandedly, he's a doctor, but he's a scientist, right? He's a, I don't know what kind of type of scientist, but anyway, knows his stuff. So that Dr. Robert Malone had alerted the FDA to this, told them about it, told the CDC about it, that they had this information on file a long time ago. And so now removed from their website. And as Dr. Laurie, Teresa Laurie, she's a PhD, a UK medical doctor, research analyst who served as a consultant for the World Health Organization. She said, you have these social media sites removing scientific information done by people who are experts in their field. Laurie said, why are social media companies so intent on suppressing scientists trying to communicate info about these medicines? She questioned the mRNA mechanism for producing the spike protein. When does it stop? Meaning, when does it turn itself off? We don't know. And Dr. Peter McCullough, in a recent speech highlighting a recent release of this information, was saying the evidence is well past 15 months in the body. So much so that, of course, it's triggering genetic changes in the body. So the CDC just quietly removes this from their website, hoping you won't notice.
Well,
hoping we wouldn't notice, but we're covering it here on the show.
From a selfish point of view, right? We are supposed to, on these community standards for the platforms that we are broadcasting on, we are supposed to adhere to CDC information, right? So if this is no longer CDC information, we can question it now. This is maybe one bit of shackle that's taken off of people on the internet. But the answer to her question, why are social media companies so intent on suppressing scientists trying to communicate information? Well, that is an easy money question, right? Facebook,
Right.
we know, offered $1 million of free advertising to the CDC around the vaccines. We know that the pharmaceutical companies have bought, and actually the U.S. government bought advertising on all major media platforms. So we know exactly why. That shouldn't make us feel any better.